Hi guys, and welcome to your daily tarot reading for Monday the 4th of April 2022. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to use my deck of cards for today's reading, the Gregory Tarot. Let's see what the cards have to say about Monday and what energy you'll be working with. So I'm just going to shuffle these and choose 3 cards to see what the tarot has to share. Okay, so first card is this one. Got the Page of Pentacles, the Hanged Man, and Strength. So what I'm getting first of all is the strength to change, the strength to gain enlightenment, to see the world differently, to see yourself differently. I just want to talk about the Hanged Man because the Hanged Man is a major arcana card, and that usually shows someone who has been hung up here, obviously, and he's got this halo around him, and his legs create the number 4 when the card is reversed. And what the card is about is this person who's made some mistakes in life, and society has said, hang on a minute, that was wrong. We're going to punish you and give you a timeout so you can reflect on what you've done, understand why that was unacceptable, and then we'll let you down once you get it, and you can go off into the world and be a productive and good member of society, and you're not going to behave in a way that's antisocial or negative. But when I was designing these cards, I wanted these angels to pop in, because sometimes it's difficult to change. Sometimes there are things about us as people that we can see aren't ideal or that don't make our own life experience easier. But even though we know that, without help, it can be very challenging to become a different person or to let go of this negative way of behaving. And it's not enough, like tough love, bad boy. Take a moment to reflect and then be different. Sometimes that doesn't do it. Sometimes it's much more helpful to say, okay, well, let's try and understand this, and let's maybe talk through it, either with another person or your higher self, and in a loving way to say, hey, you're not being judged or punished here. You messed up, but you're not unique in that. We all mess up at times, and let's support you and help you in changing. And that's what I tried to express with this. And then also I wanted this mandrake root at the bottom. And the mandrake root to me means a focus on the physical world. And in my experience, if you're trying to alter your behavior or to change your life around, your work or where you live or how you go about your business, your everyday business, by looking at the physical world and saying, okay, this is how they do it, I'm going to try and emulate that, that can often be very challenging and, again, in my experience, doesn't work as well as talking to your higher self, your guides, your angels, and saying, hey, please help me in trying to change from within, rather than trying to change by copying someone else, emulating someone else. Of course, having good role models and people to look up to can be helpful, but real change most often stems from inside of you, and it's easier when you feel supported in that process. Okay, so the Page of Pentacles is a court card. We've got a little Oliver Twist here, and the page is the most inexperienced of all the court cards, and Pentacles is the suit in the tarot that has to do with earth, and it has to do with money and work and life purpose as it relates to career and your bank balance and the environment you're in and anything to do with your practical life. And we've got the page, very inexperienced, the knights starting to get it a bit but still failing at times, and then the king and queen who are in charge of the element and who thrive in that area of their life. So the page doesn't have this great job That's why he has to steal the bread here, because he doesn't have the money to pay for the bread, but he still needs to survive. He needs to manage somehow. So it's interesting that he's actually stealing bread, and then the hanged man is being punished. And it's an interesting message to me that sometimes people are doing the best they can. And it's not particularly helpful to be super harsh and to say, that was wrong. I am judging you. Go to prison. Sometimes having compassion for other people is much more helpful in saying, okay, I think we both know that this isn't the ideal way to behave, but you were doing the best you could at the time, and to treat people as human beings, not just as numbers, or to 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 label them because of their behavior. Wow, okay, so I'm really preaching today. Sorry. The page is the most willing to learn. So even though he doesn't have a job and a bunch of experience, he's very willing to find a great way to make an income, to do a job that he loves and enjoys. So the only way he's going to learn is if he isn't condemned and banged up for a crime that he's committed, but if he's supported and if he's given the opportunity to learn and to apply himself in some way. Okay, so the theme of crime and punishment is a big thing today. And what that means to me is if you're in a situation where you feel yourself being very judgmental towards someone else or even towards yourself, then please lay off a bit, because you may not know the whole story. And it may not be factually accurate or appropriate to kind of bring the hammer down and to be super harsh. So compassion and reserving judgment is the way forward. The Page of Pentacles gives you a great opportunity to learn a new skill, something that will create you an income, and that then lifts you out of a negative situation and puts you in a much more positive one that you also enjoy and that feels richer and less stressful and more abundant, and like you've found an outlet that allows you to use inner skills and talents and gifts in a practical way. And by being willing to learn, you're able then to free yourself and to turn the Hanged Man card around, to gain enlightenment, to create more security in your life, both through knowledge, spiritual development, and practical success, because you've got a skill you can use in the real world. And if you're feeling a lack of compassion, or if you're a little bit stumped as to what you should be learning or what to do next, ask your guides for help. They will help you. They'll say, hey, why don't you study engineering or baking or stained glass window making? So going within will give you really practical advice. And then finally, strength. And the way I wanted this card to be is sometimes pain is visible in the physical body and you have to be strong to overcome it. But sometimes pain is invisible and you can really struggle mentally or spiritually or emotionally. And you need strength at times to ask for help and to say, actually, I am suffering here. I'm going to be brave and share this with another person or my guides or my higher self, and I'm going to ask for someone to reach out to me and to help me through this. That in itself takes strength, I think. But then the strength card is the 8th card in the Major Arcana, and it says, if you do reach out, it's not just about having a crutch to lean on. You can get the support that you need, and you can actually get rid of this barbed wire, and you can heal. So by investing in yourself and saying, I want to improve this, I want to work on this, you have infinite access to the higher realms. And they help you in 2 ways here. They help you in a practical sense, so that you're on track and that you're doing something that you enjoy. And that then, in turn, reduces the mental suffering or the pain you feel inside that often arises when you feel lost in life. So ultimately, I think the key to solving practical issues and emotional or spiritual issues is asking for support from your guides, your angels, from other people who do have compassion for you, who do love you, and to stay away from judgment and not to particularly judge yourself. Because that's not helpful and it's not going to teach you anything. It's going to stop you dead in your tracks. So the only way to learn and improve is through acceptance, self-acceptance, and patience with yourself and with other people. You know, if someone behaves in a way that is unpleasant, I always found it useful to differentiate between the behavior and the person. Like if someone's screaming in my ear and like hurting my eardrums, it doesn't mean that I don't like that person. It just means that I don't like the way they're screaming in my ear. You may think I'm splitting hairs, and that's a super obvious way of differentiating, but I don't think it is for everybody. I think some people are like, okay, that person has done something I don't like, therefore that must be a bad person. And again, unless you know the whole story, it's not appropriate to judge. That person may be screaming in your ear because they're deaf themselves and they don't know how loudly they're speaking. You don't know. Okay. Sermon is over for the day. Okay. Number-wise, we got 12 and 8. That's 20. And 1 is 21. 2 and 1 is 3. 3 is about communication and new beginnings. So yes, communicate with yourself in a loving way, with other people in a loving way, and make sure you talk to your higher self, and that's what's going to allow you to move forward, and that's what's going to teach you and give you enlightenment, and will put you back on track to make progress, the kind of progress that you want to make, and to even, I don't know, better yourself if that's something you want to do. So I hope that gives you an idea of of Monday's energy and what you can work with here. If you'd like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on Book Your Reading to audio reading with me. I use the tarot, astrology, and numerology in my personal reading. So if you have any questions about your circumstances or what you'd be best at or what's coming up in future, then please do get in touch with me for a personal reading. If you like this video, then give it a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe and share the video online. Have an amazing day, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.